All right. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to CampusGuard's first webinar of 2023. My name is Kathy Staples, and I am the marketing manager here at CampusGuard. Tess Meyer, marketing specialist at CampusGuard, is also here to monitor any questions submitted. Say hi to Tess. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's webinar will be recorded, so you can access it again later. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them into the chat, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible after the presentation. If we don't get to yours, we will definitely follow up with you after the webinar. You'll also receive an email with the link to the recording, so look out for that in the next couple of days. And we'll also like to know what your thoughts are about the webinar. So please take a couple of minutes after the webinar to complete a brief survey. So today we have Ruth Harpel, and she'll be discussing what's new in the payment space for 2023, expected changes to rules and regulations regarding PCI DSS, version 4 and GLBA, and the MasterCard donation subscription rules, payment trends, and new innovations and technology to watch in 2023. Ruth is our payment advisor here at CampusGuard. She provides consulting in the areas of treasury operations, payments, and payments risk management. She has over 30 years of experience in banking services, banking operations, not-for-profit treasury cash management, and payments management operational leadership. Formerly, Ruth was the managing director of treasury operations at Indiana University. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Ruth.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tess, for the work that you guys are doing to help put this webinar on. I'm excited to be with everyone today. I wish I could see you in person, but we're just hear my voice. I've done some research, figuring out what's going to happen in 2023 in the world of payments and regulations that I think are of interest to higher education, to hospitals, and also to some government entities. So we've got some of each on the call with us today, I believe. And so welcome, everyone. So let's dive in. First of all, you should know that when we started putting this presentation idea together a couple of months ago, some things that were true then are no longer true today. And in terms of some of the rules and regs that were deployed then and were rescinded later, and we'll talk about some of those as well. So for the next half hour or so, I want to talk to you about what's going on in the news in terms of payments, what's going on with Visa and MasterCard, some things that we need to know in higher education and in our other institutions. What do we need to know about crypto and CBDC, central bank digital currency? And then the last topic I'll touch on ever so briefly is PCI DSS and GLBA. So let's kind of dive in and see what's going on first in the news. So you should know consumer to business payments saw a dramatic shift in the last 3 years, especially with COVID, as to how consumers do business. Consumers have moved dramatically to the digital space. They're using digital wallets. We're not carrying around coins. We don't tend to carry around as many paper currencies as we used to in the past, certainly in the last 2 years. So it's very kind of exciting time. I'm also going to talk a little bit about a rule that the IRS passed that was going to affect higher ed in kind of a roundabout way. And this had to do with 1099s. I'll talk more about that when we get to that slide. I'll share a little bit with you about business to business payments and some changes we're seeing in that space and how it may affect higher education in your accounts receivable areas. Give you a little bit of information about cryptocurrency. There's been a lot in the news in the last couple of months about cryptocurrency. You've heard the term crypto winter. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing and what the expectation is from the greater financial community regarding central bank digital currencies and cryptocurrency. And then finally, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information on real-time payments, specifically FedNOW, but I do have a call out for the clearinghouse as well. So let's talk about consumer payments. Now I got to put my glasses on because I've got something I want to read to you here. First of all, on the screen there, you can see that according to payments.com, in May of 2022, 19 million more consumers in the United States went online to do their banking, to buy things, and to pay bills than had ever done it before. This is an interesting time in May of 2022 that this happened. You would have expected that the large uptick in the use of digital wallets or going online to do anything would have occurred in the height of COVID. By May of 2022, things had started to subside a little bit. Businesses were open. We were back to in-person kind of things. Yet still more people went to this digital wallet and online transactions. And that's really driven a lot by they overcame a fear. And I say they, but we as consumers overcame this fear of using a digital wallet or using electronic payment methods or putting our payment information online. Part of that fear we overcame was out of necessity during COVID. And the other one was sometimes the first time you do before you do something for the first time, it's scary. And then when you do it the second time and the third time, it's more comfortable and you're okay with it and you realize it works. So that's what we're seeing here. The other thing that's happened recently is that many states have started researching and testing digital driver's license. In March of 22, Arizona, the state of Arizona, released a digital driver's license, a DDL. It's supplemental to the physical driver's license that's issued, and so you can show your digital license in some places in Arizona, and some of the airports around the country. They will accept your digital driver's license, and in other places you still need your physical. So at this point, while we have two states, Maryland and Arizona, that have gone digital editions, I guess, iterations of their driver's license, there are 15 other states that are currently offering digital driver's license or in the testing phases. Well, so what? What does this have anything to do with your jobs and what you're doing at your seats? Well, I think the first thing to understand when it comes to digital wallets is that, you know, when we originally got these smart devices, we thought these are more than just telephones, right? They can do a whole bunch of other things. And one of the things we quickly realized that we could do with them was create an electronic wallet or use an electronic wallet that was provided to us, whether that was Google Pay or Apple Pay or what it was. And Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. I've got Cash App on here, Venmo, and I've listed Zelle. Zelle is not exactly a digital wallet, but it is embedded with a lot of the banking systems today. So this is why I've listed it here. But not only are you able to do banking and financial things with your electronic wallet, businesses are now adding loyalty cards. So I don't have to carry my Kroger card around. I can keep it in my digital wallet. I don't have to carry a bus pass with me or a train token. When I fly, my boarding passes are digital and they're held in my wallet. So I don't have to worry about, did I drop it? Did I lose it? Which book did I stick it in? That kind of thing. A lot of campuses, whether they're higher ed for students or whether they're healthcare for their employees, are now issuing mobile IDs. And so these mobile IDs are all tied into this digital wallet as well. And now with states like Arizona issuing the digital driver's license, you have to start wondering, how long is it going to be until we don't really have to carry a physical wallet around anymore? If the cash is there, the loyalty cards, the coupons, the boarding passes, my work or student ID, and my driver's license is all in that phone or smart device, why do I need to carry a physical wallet? And so I think those kind of things, we're going to see more of those questions come up. We're going to see more adaptations in 2023 of technologies and solutions that can be used within the digital wallet. So we'll see an expansion of that being used. If you haven't seen it yet, you will this year. I'm almost certain of it. An individual walk up to a point of sale location, a physical point of sale location, and they don't want to pull out their driver's license or their credit card. They want to pay with their wallet. I actually ran into this myself at Walmart just 2 days ago. The gal in front of me had all of her groceries purchases rung up. There in the store, but then she took out her smart device and opened her Walmart mobile app and paid through the mobile app for the purchases that she just made there in person. And it was all very seamless. And that is exactly what consumers are looking for today. So it's that omni-channel approach. I've got another slide on that as we go along. Now, one of the things that was originally a rule when we started developing this presentation that changed is this IRS rule regarding 1099Ks. And essentially what the rule said was that these wallet providers, Apple, Google Pay, PayPal, so forth, Cash App, that they had to start reporting in a 1099K form every transaction that exceeded $600. So a consumer or whoever owned that app or owned that wallet would be getting a 1099K. So why does this matter to higher ed? Well, I figured, you know, we all have well-meaning, good-intentioned student groups and faculty and advisors and so forth across our campuses that, you know, open up their own PayPal or Cash App accounts. They may be conducting business on behalf of the university and you don't know about it. We used to call these rogue accounts. This ruling by the IRS would have made those come out of the woodwork, because as soon as a student group or a faculty or an advisor or someone on staff got a 1099K in their name and their tax ID number for money that they took on behalf of the university, they would bring that 1099K into you and start asking what you're going to do. So good news, bad news. Good news, I don't know which one is which here in this, but the IRS has backed off of this rule now in the past past month or so, and they've said, oh, okay, you don't have to do this year. We're going to delay it. And organizations, these wallet apps are still required to issue 1099Ks if the transactions are greater than a certain dollar, greater than $20,000 for the whole year. But it's rare that that happens in higher ed. So what I'm going to say to you is, this might be a good year, 2023, to do some type of surveys, ask questions, keep your eyes and ears open on your campuses to see if you can hear where people have opened what I'm calling rogue accounts, because in a year, I think the IRS is going to drop this delay, and they're going to start requiring that these mobile financial apps start issuing those individual 1099Ks for the transactions. So you guys will get busy. Probably in a year, but I think you have a year to prepare for this and see what happens. And that click didn't work. Let's try this click. All right, that click's not working either. Let me make my computer wake up. Uh-oh. Hold on, folks. I'm frozen. Kathy, this hasn't happened. So if I escape, let me start over. There. Oh, now you can't see anything, can you? All right, folks, hold on.
We're on presenter view, Ruth.
Thank you. I can't flip it. Just a second. I don't know why it went to sleep on me.
I also have a presentation up on my screen if you want me to share my screen.
I think I got it coming up here. What do you see? Presenter view?
Yes.
All right, this should put us back where we belong. All right, good?
No, still presenter view.
Really?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, sorry about that, folks. Technical difficulties. If you guys know me, you know there's nothing technical about me. So everything has to be on a path here. All right, and oh, by the way, on the bottom of this page, I've given you the link to the IRS information, and I've got it linked at the end of this document, at the end of the slideshow as well. All right, let's talk about business-to-business payments then. We will see a reduction in the number of accounts receivable checks that you guys are receiving, not because you have less accounts receivable, but because more and more businesses since COVID have moved to electronic payments and electronic invoicing. You guys all experienced this during the height of COVID, actually during the beginning days of COVID, the difficulties in getting paper invoices out, processing paper checks. This was a worldwide issue, certainly a nationwide issue in the United States. And so a lot of businesses have started working with various third parties to help them make payments electronically and to and to issue invoices electronically. So how does this affect higher ed? Well, you already see a lot of incoming ACHs, non-student incoming ACHs. If they're student ACHs, you know who those belong to. You can, in most cases, you can get them booked easily. The non-student ACHs sometimes come in, you don't have enough information, you can't get them booked correctly, you have manual efforts that need to get involved with that. So one of the challenges facing you this year is it will be an increase in the number of electronic payments coming in. Those electronic payments, I think predominantly you'll see ACH. There's a shift from businesses away from check payments and into ACH. And so making sure that you can identify those, that the vendor is sending enough information in that ACH payment file so that your financial institution can help you identify where it belongs, all very important. Have a good conversation with your bank about your financial institution about how you can get clean data from them and how that might be able to be integrated into your ERP system. Get away from the manual if you can. Look for ways to move away from that. Anytime you can do automation instead of manual, you're saving time and effort, and you're usually saving some money as well. You will see an increase in the number of vendor portal logons and passwords. So again, as these vendors go electronic, they're going to give you logons and passwords to their portal so that you can maintain your institution's information in their file. How are you going to maintain those logons and passwords? You don't want them shared across your footprint. Do you have written procedures in place? Take a look at these things. Business email compromise is still a growing fraud threat in the United States and in the world. And as more and more businesses go electronic and start using these portals, you can bet that the fraudsters are going to find ways to make changes. So take a look at your processes and procedures and make sure that they're solid. And if you need help updating those, reach out. Okay. A couple of reasons here why invoicing and electronic payments are valuable. Nothing new, but I wanted to throw that out there so you guys could take a look at it. One payment trend, and I got to put my glasses on for this one, the Fed Atlanta Payment Survey, which is a every 2-year survey that they do. So in 2020, they learned that our behavior patterns, our behavior changed relative to payments as consumers sharply due to COVID, right? More and more of us were using digital payments. We moved away from contactless. We stopped carrying coins around. We stopped doing in-person transactions. The first time use of digital wallets was highest in the third quarter of 2020. So it's very interesting how we've eagerly adopted electronic payments. I do see potentially a question in. I can't read the question. We're going to watch those and we will get to your questions. I promise you we will get to your questions. Now, one thing to note here is that ACH payments are growing in popularity for business-to-business payments. So we want to make sure that your systems are set to be able to receive those, that you have the right blocks on your account so you don't have fraud, things like that. Okay. Let's dig into crypto for a little bit. So crypto has been kind of boom and bust last year, all in the same fell swoop. Early on in the year, it was the, crypto bowl and all that kind of stuff going on. And by the end of the year, we had the FTX meltdown, as the New York Times calls it, and the fraud that was going on. And in fact, just this morning broke news of another crypto fraud ring that's being torn down, I guess. The founder of a Hong Kong-based crypto exchange named BitzLato, I don't know about the name there, BITZLATO, was arrested in Miami this morning in connection to a vast money laundering operation, which amounted to $700 million in 4 years. So the crypto freeze may be thawing. There's still rampant fraud that seems to be running around all over the place in the crypto and exchange world, FTX being the biggest one on everybody's mind right now. But I can share with you that the World Economic Forum says that crypto and blockchain technologies will continue to be an integral part of modern economy. So I heard an individual on a crypto news station the other day talk about crypto, where crypto is today, and he compared it to the Silicon tech boom that happened a number of decades ago that started out in California. And if you remember, there was just everybody was investing all kinds of dollars into, you name it, a tech company and multiples of tech companies. This is when Apple and Google and Microsoft, not Microsoft, but all of these major companies were being formed, these tech companies. And so if you look back at that now, the ones like 90% of them went bankrupt. And so I think we're starting to see some with the crypto world, we're starting to see some of the sorting out of what's criminal and what's not. We're trying to understand it a little bit better. So my advice to you is this. In the past year, a number of you have heard me talk about get ready in your foundation, your development office to receive crypto payments for donations. Don't stop that work. Just because there's crypto meltdowns going on and fraud going on right now doesn't mean that there's still not going to be cause to use central bank digital currencies to be able to accept crypto as donations converted into US dollars, of course. Those opportunities are still going to be there. They're still going to be crypto wealthy. Crypto is in a very early infancy stages of growing. And so the good and the bad are going to sort itself out. Keep yourself in a safe position if you're going to open exchanges. Do your homework like you do with other banks when you open bank accounts. What country is that crypto exchange based in? What laws does it follow? Things like that. Just actually it was in December, this little poll popped up on MSN and asks, has the demise of FTX affected your faith in crypto? I answered no, because I'm just in the hold stage of any crypto that I own, but you can see a lot of people answered yes. There's also a lot of people that had not answered this poll yet. There was only 62 responses when I answered the poll. I wish I could have gotten back to it and seen at the end of the day what it looked like, but my guess is the majority of people are saying, no, I don't have any faith in crypto. You don't have to invest in crypto. There's still regulations trying to decide what's going on and what it is. But I can tell you that the card brands are working to figure out ways to be able to deliver solutions to merchants at the point of sale so that you can accept crypto there. And the first place they started to do that was with various partners to set up Visa issued cards that connect to crypto exchange accounts. So a consumer could take their digital wallet, open up their crypto exchange wallet, and pay at the point of sale with a near NFC technology. And they used crypto to pay, but you got US dollars and you don't know that they used crypto at all. So in 2022, I should say in 2023, I'm sorry, we expect more cryptocurrency cards and more issuers experimenting with crypto rewards. And that's going to lead to more and more technology at the point of sale for the merchant to be able to accept these types of cards. I'm not expecting physical cards, although a lot of these exchanges issue physical cards right now. I'm expecting digital, as in the digital wallets. So now it still doesn't get to the regulation issue. Crypto is regulated. Cryptocurrencies, exchanges, blockchain, and central bank digital currencies all kind of lump into the same categories right now in terms of a lack of regulation and a lack of understanding. Crypto is regulated by a lot of government bodies, but there's not one unifying framework. So there's not one there's not a, I'm going to use the word czar. There's not a crypto czar out there that oversees everything. And as soon as you cross into other countries' domains, then the rules change altogether. So there's a lot of work going on worldwide. At Davos this week in Switzerland, I believe they're spending a lot of time talking about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and the future of central bank digital currencies. So it's not just happening in our country, it's happening across the world. Our country is working on some things. The President of the United States issued in 2020, put a working group together to look at stablecoin regulation. That group gave a preliminary report in December of 21, and work continues on that. There's a number of House and Senate committees that are also looking into central bank digital currency. So what I can tell you on this point is just when you get a few minutes, check out the news story that's on about crypto, see what's going on. A lot of the news story is going to be negative. Work through that and listen to the opportunities that are coming, because there's a lot of good things that are coming with crypto and blockchain in particular. So hang on to that and watch out for it. All right, some things to anticipate. I think if consumer prices remain at current levels or continue to increase, that we're going to see more and more consumers shift from credit card to debit card. Consumer debt reached an all-time high last March, I think 50, I can't find my number, but 50 some odd million, $52 million in consumer debt. It soared by 52 million in March of this past year. So more and more consumers are going to stop using credit cards and start using their debit cards. More and more consumers are going to want to pay with ACH rather than with a credit card. Rather than to go into further debt, they would sooner have it come right out of their bank account. So we're going to see here, one of the next things that I want to make you aware of is that we're going to see a lot more e-commerce software providers come to you with solutions that are embedded in their software. You've seen these, you've used them in the past in a couple areas. If you've ever used Uber, when you use the Uber app and it's time to pay, you don't have to leave their app. Their app doesn't take you outside of their app to a payment gateway or to a credit card process. It just says, are you ready to pay? And you click yes, you pay. And it's all embedded within their app. I think we're seeing this in other places as well today on our campuses. Stripe comes to mind as one of the areas, one of the businesses that is being embedded in other softwares. And so you see this when you go to purchase a particular software and they say the only thing that you can use to accept a payment in here is Stripe. That's an embedded payment. You'll see more and more of this as the year goes along and into future years. You're also going to start seeing these embedded payment applications start adding ACH as a payment type, not just for consumers, but also for businesses. There will continue to be an increased use of digital wallets. And that means you're going to need to have NFC enabled devices at your point of sale locations or your mobile devices if you're going to operate in a mobile fashion. And so heads up, if you don't have NFC devices now, to stay with the way our consumers and businesses are moving, these are going to become a must-have for you. Yes, there are persistent supply chain issues and slownesses. Those slownesses, while they're alleviating, in some cases they're not. The chip shortage is one of them. It's going to be a while yet before we come out of this chip shortage, and that chip shortage is going to, it is increasing device prices, it is limiting inventory, and it's increasing wait times for devices. So if you think you need a new terminal, I would sometime this year, I'd go ahead and get in line, get your order placed, because last I heard, some institutions are waiting 6 to 8 months for devices to be shipped to them. So if you're going to need some, or you're going to issue an RFP or whatever the case is, get early on that order if you know what you need, if you're just replacing something. Interchange and processing fees have increased. You may not have realized this. In 2021, Visa quietly increased some of its rates. They didn't make a big announcement about it. They had been asked to delay the rate, and they were going to increase the rate in early 2020. The federal government asked them to delay the rate increase because of COVID. and ask if they would wait until 2022 to increase their interchange rates. And Visa kind of said, yeah, well, okay, we'll think about it. And then in 2021, they kind of went ahead and quietly raised those rates. So heads up, your merchant processing rates are higher. If you take business cards in a B2B payment situation, you will, especially those rates have increased. So take a close look at your credit card rates and see what's your pricing and see what's going on there. Okay, here's a screen print of some of the interchange rates that are in place today. I'll let you look at that at your leisure, but as you look at that, you have to ask yourself, if you haven't issued a RFP in a while, is it time to relook at your credit card processes, get the newest technology, get the best pricing, make sure that you're set for future growth, and not necessarily in growth in the number of locations or your number of volumes, but growth in terms of where does the technology go? Do you have to buy new technology, or can you buy technology today that is adaptable to what may come forward? Crypto is an example of the adaptability. So keep that in mind as you look at your credit card rates, whether it's Visa or MasterCard. They've both increased a little bit, I believe. All right, let me stay on MasterCard now. Back in September, I wrote a blog. It's on the CampusGuard website about new MasterCard requirements. They actually changed their definition of donations and reclassified them under subscriptions. Subscriptions carry a different transactional rules in the MasterCard world than other transactions. You have to give notices every time a recurring transaction occurs or before it occurs, things of that nature. Well, the Not-for-Profit Association continued to have conversations with MasterCard about the implications of this and to understand what the real nature of this was. And as it turns out, MasterCard said, okay, well, higher ed, development offices, kind of not-for-profit organizations, if you're not having a problem with large numbers of chargebacks, then this new rule doesn't really apply to you. So this is an update from the September article I wrote. We have put an update out on our website. Thank you, Kathy, for taking care of that. And so it takes you to this updated article that I've cut and pasted the executive overview on. So in its update, it basically says, if you don't have a chargeback problem, if you're not in the Acquirer Chargeback Monitoring Program, ACMP, then this new rule doesn't really apply to you. But if for any reason into the future, MasterCard deems that your merchant ID has a large number of chargebacks and this is an issue, they will throw you into this category and this will be a requirement for you. So I don't expect this to come back. They've pretty much waved us off in terms of needing to be responsible here on this on these extra mandates, but stay out of the chargeback world. And for the most part, we do, or they wouldn't have excluded us in the first place. So good news there. The tenet of this whole idea by MasterCard is to make sure that chargebacks are as low as normal. So it's not a bad exercise to look at your systems and make sure that they're opened only to the people that you need it open to, that you're taking donations from individuals that you know, and that you don't have a lot of chargebacks. Okay. Is it time to replace your hardware? We talked about this. The supply chain is improving, but it's going to be slow to get that new hardware. Are you looking for ways to provide an omni-channel shopping experience? I referenced this earlier when I talked about the individual in front of me at Walmart. That's omni-channel. If I can pay one way and shop another, and the two can interact with each other without any hiccups or hesitations, then that's omni-channel, and that's what consumers are looking for. And then, are your websites able to accept digital wallet payments? Take a look at those as you work with third parties or you stand up payment sites on your e-commerce. Make sure that they're open now to be able to take ACH and all the rules around that. Make sure your third party can support that, but are they able to accept digital wallets as well? Again, this whole omni-channel experience. The consumer lives in the middle of mobile, retail, and web right now. The consumer wants to do business the way the consumer wants to do business. And while it seems like the tail wagging the dog, let's be honest, if we as retailers cannot provide to consumers a way to take a payment that they want to use, they will go elsewhere. And so while we don't have to provide everything, some of the more common uses are very important. Okay. Kathy, I'm sorry, I've lost track of time.
It is 3:36 your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, FedNOW, and I just got a couple more slides then and we'll be good. FedNOW and real-time payments. Look, real-time payments have been around in the United States for 5 years. They've been around in the world for longer than that. Real-time payments are about instant payments and instant settlement. So while it seems today like I could pay you with a credit card and that seems like a real-time payment, the truth is you don't get the money until it settles. And that's usually 24 to 48 hours later when the money shows up in your bank account. What real-time payments do is move the money and the information at the same time, and it happens instantaneously. So there are a couple different, there's two businesses that offer real-time payments. One is the clearinghouse and the other is FedNOW. FedNOW will start its real-time solution, I think in May of this year. So contact your financial institution if you're interested in real-time payments. If you want to talk more about where real-time payments may have an application in your environment, certainly reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you and understand more. Your financial institution can as well. Off the top of my head, I was trying to think of a few places where real-time payments might come valuable to a university. So rather than making, think about emergency student payments. Today, I think for emergency student payments, checks are being written. The student cashes the check, they have the cash, and then we got to go through the clearing and settlement of the check and all that. The other thing is entertainers that you may have on campus. We don't want to, as universities or institutions, we don't want to pay them early and then have them not show. But then they don't want to perform until they get paid. So a lot of times they show up on campus and then we issue a payment. A real-time payment might be a great solution for that. It's going to be a little cheaper than a wire transfer. There are some rules and regs you need to know about that. There's a finality of payment, so you need to make sure it's accurate. But it's a pretty cool thing that's coming on in the United States, and there are some applications that can be used with that as well. And then the third thing that I thought at universities where it might be valuable is it might be valuable in contracting payments or subcontracting payments once you have confidence that the box has been checked, that the contractor did what they needed to do. Maybe real-time payments, instant payments would be a good solution for that. But keep watch on this and stay in touch with your financial institution. The next time you meet with them, tell them you want them to tell you more about FedNOW. And look, they are your service provider when it comes to financial services. They should be able to answer your questions and tell you what their financial institution can provide in terms of how you get a hold of it. One page here on PCI DSS. I could have done an entire afternoon on PCI DSS 4.0. Rather than do that, I'll call out a couple things here. First, thank you to Pete Campbell in our shop who either counted or looked at all the pages. There are 360 pages in version 4.0. It's a lot of pages to go through. We're here to help you get that done. A couple things here. Version 4.0 provides more support to you and guidance in managing third-party service providers, something I know higher ed has desperately needed and something we're definitely going to need into 2023 and beyond as we look at more of these embedded payment solutions and try to sort out who's responsible for what and where does PCI responsibilities lie. And then the last point here on 4.0 that I'll share is that it does require organizations to enforce a formal security awareness program for their merchants. So it wasn't required in the past, it was recommended, it was suggested, but the word enforce is here. So keep that in mind. And again, there's help available for that from us and probably other organizations as well. There's the blog, our PCI DSS blog, and of course you can reach out to info@CampusGuard. And then the last info slide I have here is on GLBA. Again, I wanted to touch on it because there's been a delay in the rule enforcement for this. The original rule It was 6 months prior to June 9th, would have been December 9th of 22 when the compliance rule went into effect. That's now been delayed until June the 9th. So you still have some time. If you're not sure whether the GLBA rule and the Federal Trade Commission's rule on compliance and financial data security has anything to do with you, or what it may have to do with your institution, reach out to us. If it looks like you need an assessment to meet this compliance or data security rule, again, there's help available. You're not alone. Reach out to your compatriots at other schools, find out what solutions they're doing, reach out to us, we can help you. Some helpful links. Here's our CampusGuard link. Here's the link to the IRS page for the IRS 1099-K that it's not this year, but next year, I think you're going to see an impact on. And then the last bullet I have here is to share that CampusGuard is a proud foundational supporter of the Payments Academy, which most of you know formerly as the PCI Workshop. That's now rebranded to the Payments Academy. And we certainly look forward to seeing you in Indianapolis in May of this year for the kickoff of the Payments Academy. So a couple points here just on CampusGuard and payment advisory services in particular. Why do we have this webinar here in the beginning of January? Because this is part of what we do at CampusGuard is we stay up on the news when it comes to payments. We know that you wear a lot of hats. We know that you have a lot of things to keep up on. And we also know that it's nice to be able to drop an email or pick up the phone and call someone that is knowledgeable or that can do the research for you or that can help you out with certain things. And whether that's on knowledge or whether it's on specific projects like writing RFPs or writing job descriptions, surveys across your campus as to who's taking what payments, whether you need help with account analysis reviews, researching new products and solutions like treasury workstations or lockbox solutions, to name an old one. Whatever you need, this is what we do at Payment Advisory Services, and it's an effort to help you. You wear a lot of hats. It's nice to have someone you can call on a minute's notice and see if you can get information, see if they've already researched it. Our goals are to help you reduce your costs, to increase your revenue, to help you deploy standard and efficient processes, and to help reduce your risk, to make your compliance easier and to make your security top-notch. That's what we're here to do. I got a couple extra minutes. Kathy, if we could turn it over, and Tess, we'll turn it over some questions. If anybody has any, I'm happy to go through some answers. And what we can't get answered today, I'll follow up with you and we'll get those answers out.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions in the chat right now. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and put it in the chat. Ruth, the first question, for digital wallet and 1099 reporting, would this include Apple Pay? We use Apple Pay via our merchant processor. In this case, would our school receive the 1099 reporting notification or the merchant processor?
If the Apple Pay account is opened in your tax ID number, then the school will receive the 1099-K.
Okay, and then a question from David. Regarding customers switch from check to HCH, do you have any suggestions for getting these businesses and organizations to send the correct information in their ACH file so that it may be transmitted through the banking systems? The majority of ACH payments we receive don't have any remittance information coming through the banking files. The customer typically sends a separate email with remittance information, but this results in manual payment application.
Yeah, I agree. This is a challenge, David. And I think it's a great question. There's no simple answer to it, but organizations such as NACHA and the major financial institutions in the United States have heard about this issue, and they are keenly aware of it. NACHA, for example, has developed a system called Fixius, P-H-I-X-I-U-S. Talk to your financial institution about Fixius. Fixius is one of these kind of intermediary, and I believe it's using the blockchain, but it's one of these intermediary solutions that helps ensure that the correct data is received before the transaction can occur. So you have to work through your financial institution to use these types of solutions, but ask them if they have more. I have also seen, kind of a low tech solution to this. I've seen a lot of institutions that issue a written statement that says if you're going to send a payment, it has to have this type of data in it. That's good if they read it and they key that into their payment solution. It's no good at all if they don't read it and they don't use it. So this is a battle we haven't found the successful solution to yet. But we need to keep talking about it. We need to talk about it with our financial institutions so they can hear the challenges that we're having.
And then I can actually answer this question from Diane. She says, can we get a copy of the presentation? We will be sending out a follow-up email with a link to a YouTube video with this presentation. So if you wanted to revisit it, you could just watch the video and you can scrub to whatever time you need to scrub to, and then you can have that will be up on YouTube forever.
Right. You can fast forward past the hiccup and the slides or live through it again.
I'm also happy to include a link to the presentation in the email, if that's easier, since there are some links there and some of them were kind of lengthy. So I'm happy to go ahead and put that in the email as well.
Yep, great. Any other questions? Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions? If you do, definitely reach out to us. You can, there's Ruth's email, or you can reach out to info@campusguard.com. And we just wanted to thank everybody for your time. Again, you'll be receiving an email either tomorrow or the next day with all of this information, with the link to the presentation as well as the recording. So, and if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us as well, and we'll get those answered for you. And thanks everybody for your time. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.